You never thought it would matter. What you ate? What you didn't? What you skipped or grabbed out of habit? You figured by 60, it was too late to fix much anyway. The decline felt natural. Energy fading, sleep getting thinner, and intimacy? Well, you told yourself that was just another part of youth slipping out the back door without saying goodbye. But that wasn't the truth. Not really. It didn't leave all at once. It slowed. Bit by bit. Until one night, your body didn't respond the way it used to. You brushed it off. But it kept happening. And eventually you stopped trying. Stopped expecting. Stopped reaching. You didn't feel broken. Just invisible. Even to yourself. It wasn't until after your 68th birthday, after a quiet conversation with a younger doctor, that something clicked. He didn't talk about pills, or testosterone shots, or magic cures. He said, "You want better blood flow, better sleep, better performance? Start with your fridge." You laughed, but deep down you felt something shift, because no one had ever told you that circulation and intimacy are tied to something as simple as what's on your plate. You started slowly, small changes, one piece of fruit at a time. And what you discovered wasn't just better digestion or lower blood pressure. It was returning life, color, mood, confidence, and yes, function. You remember the first fruit that truly changed something for you. Pomegranate. You had it once years ago, tart, red, sticky, but now you started adding it to your morning routine, just a handful. Bitter but rich, and within weeks you noticed the difference. More energy in the mornings, stronger flow during your walks, and slowly, your body began responding again, like it had been waiting for someone to turn the switch back on. Later, you learned that pomegranate boosts nitric oxide in the blood, that it relaxes blood vessels, feeds the heart, supports erectile health. But at the time, you didn't care about the science. You just cared that you started feeling like a man again, not just an old man. The second one came in unexpected. Blueberries. You'd avoided them for years. Too expensive. Too small to matter, you thought. But one day you threw a few on your oatmeal, and that was that. Your focus got clearer. Your sleep came easier. You woke up with something in your chest you hadn't felt in months. Drive. It wasn't just about the bedroom. It was about momentum, posture, confidence. That little fruit had done more than any bottle in your cabinet ever had. You started to wonder, how many years did I give up because I didn't know how to feed the parts of me that were fading? And now? You're not chasing youth. You're feeding what's still alive. Because there's more life left than you thought. You just needed to listen to your body instead of waiting for someone else to fix it. Later in the video, you'll hear about another fruit that quietly changes your blood chemistry, and how one simple daily habit brought back a kind of warmth you thought was gone for good. It's strange how you don't notice yourself fading until you start coming back. That's what happened. Day by day, fruit by fruit. Not magic, not overnight. Just small signs of strength returning to a place that had been quiet for too long. Your feet stopped tingling after long walks. Your hands didn't swell in the morning. You stopped needing naps just to make it through the afternoon. And you began to feel something unexpected. Hope. The third fruit came from a memory. A warm afternoon in Georgia decades ago. Your first real peach. Juice on your shirt. Sticky fingers. Sun on your face. You hadn't had one in years. But that summer, you bought a few. Let them soften on the counter. Bit into one while standing at the sink. And suddenly, you remembered something. Pleasure isn't just in the bedroom. It's in the small, sweet moments of being fully present. Peaches support hormone balance. They hydrate. They help your skin and arteries and circulation. But more than that, they remind you to slow down and taste your life. The next fruit came from a trip to the farmer's market. You weren't looking for anything specific, just moving, breathing. That's when you saw them. Beets, bright, earthy. You remembered hearing something about nitric oxide, about circulation, about blood flow. So you bought one, roasted it, ate it with olive oil and salt. Didn't love the taste at first, but after 2 weeks, you noticed. Your legs felt lighter. Your nighttime bathroom trips became less frequent. And you woke up one morning with a familiar heat in your belly, one you hadn't felt in years. This wasn't about sex. It was about being alive again. Responsive, energetic, awake. And the more you nourished your blood, the more your body remembered how to connect. With your breath, with movement, with someone else. That night, you stood in front of the mirror, not to judge, not to flex, just to look. And for the first time in a long time, you didn't feel like something fading. You felt like something returning. You jotted down a line in your notebook. What feeds my blood feeds my confidence. And that confidence? It wasn't about performance. It was about peace, a steady sense of readiness, not to impress, but to feel. Later in the video, you'll hear how one fruit helped stabilize your blood sugar, quietly healing your energy and stamina in ways you didn't even realize you needed. You started walking differently. Not faster, not for distance, but with intention. Your arms swinging with rhythm, your chest open, your breath deeper. And for the first time in years, you realize something simple, but powerful. The more my blood moves, the more I move. You'd gone years treating your circulation like a background process, never questioned it, never supported it. But as the fruits built up in your system, as the nutrients took root, you noticed the difference. Not just in the bedroom, in the mirror. In the mirror of how people looked at you. You carried yourself differently. Because now, you felt different. And that started, surprisingly, with something small. Citrus. You were never a big orange guy. Too acidic, you said. But you started adding slices of orange and grapefruit to your water. Then a squeeze over your fish. Then one full fruit with breakfast. Your digestion got easier. But that wasn't the real surprise. You started waking up clearer, more mentally alert, more focused, and the morning fog that usually clung to your head began to lift. You found out later, citrus is packed with vitamin C and flavonoids, two things that improve circulation, protect your arteries, and support libido. But all you knew at the time was that something inside you had clicked back on. Then came a new favorite. Watermelon. Sweet, juicy, simple. You remembered it from childhood picnics, but you'd never known how powerful it was. One day, after reading something online about L-citrulline, you gave it a try. 3 slices a week. Cold, crisp. And within 2 weeks, you noticed something deeper. I'm sleeping better. I'm getting up less at night. I feel lighter, even in my mind. Watermelon naturally relaxes blood vessels, boosts nitric oxide, and for men over 60, it does what no energy drink ever could. It restores your flow. No one talks about this at your age, about how fruits, simple, natural, forgotten fruits, can change how you walk, how you breathe, how you show up in your own body. But now you know, and you've lived it. You stood in the garden one afternoon, sun warming your back, sweat on your forehead, pulse steady, and for the first time in years, you didn't feel old. You felt circulating, alive, present, capable. You wrote in your notebook that night, the key wasn't supplements. It was returning to what the earth already gave me. Color, flavor, blood, all moving again. Later in the video, you'll hear how one overlooked tropical fruit quietly restored not just physical strength, but the emotional closeness you didn't realize your body had missed. You used to think intimacy meant performance. That if you couldn't be strong, last long, or feel what you used to feel, then the moment didn't count. So, over time, you pulled away. Not to be cruel, to protect yourself. From embarrassment, from rejection, from the quiet ache of not being who you once were. But as your health shifted, as your blood moved again, as your body softened into aliveness, something unexpected happened. You stopped chasing performance and started welcoming connection. It didn't begin in the bedroom. It began over breakfast. You sliced a mango, shared it with her. She laughed at the way the juice ran down your wrist. It was nothing, but it was also everything. Because in that moment, your body wasn't just working. It was sharing. You started bringing mango into your diet regularly. Not because it was tropical or sweet, but because it made you feel warm. Later, you'd learn it supports libido, blood sugar regulation, and hydration. But for you, it brought back playfulness, that spark of sensuality that has nothing to do with performance and everything to do with feeling safe in your own skin. Then came the next surprise. Avocado. You used to avoid it. Too creamy, too trendy. But someone told you about the healthy fats, how they boost testosterone, lower inflammation, and support nerve sensitivity. So, you gave it a shot. Half an avocado a day, with lemon, with salt. And what you felt? Was satisfaction. You weren't crashing midday. You were more present in conversations. You stopped checking your body for what wasn't working and started noticing what was. One evening you laid beside her, not for sex, just to be close. And she leaned into you like it was the most natural thing in the world. You didn't think about performance. You thought about presence. And in that softness, your body responded anyway. Not like it used to, but like it was trying. Alive. Honest. Enough. This wasn't about what you could do. It was about what you could feel. And fruit by fruit, your body reminded you that connection was still yours to have. Without shame. Without proving anything. Just breath, warmth, touch. You wrote in your notebook that night, "Intimacy came back the moment I stopped chasing it and started feeding it." Later in the video, you'll hear how one last fruit, a deep red, earthy one, helped balance your blood pressure, lowered anxiety, and gave you something you thought was long gone. Peace under your skin. You didn't expect much from it. The last fruit on the list. Small, dark, earthy in flavor. Hard to find unless you knew where to look. Dark cherries? You almost skipped them. They didn't seem as flashy as watermelon or mango, but you tried them anyway. A handful each night before bed, and within a week, you noticed something deeper than energy, something quieter than blood flow. You felt calmer. Your sleep was fuller. Your thoughts less scattered. Your heart less reactive to little worries. And when you woke up, you didn't feel like you had to catch up to the day. You were already with it. Cherries helped regulate your blood pressure, reduced inflammation, boosted melatonin, and gently relaxed the tension you used to carry in your chest, your back, your jaw. But beyond the science, they gave you something you didn't know you needed. Peace. That night, you looked at your notebook, the one you started when the changes began. You saw the list of fruits, the stories tied to each one, the way each one wasn't just a food, but a moment in your journey back to yourself. You flipped to the last page and wrote the final line. It wasn't about fixing anything, it was about remembering I was still worth feeding. And then, you closed the notebook. Not because the lessons were over, but because the forgetting was. You stood by the window, a warm mug in hand, your body steady and relaxed. Not young, not chasing youth, just present. Noticing how soft the light looked on the floor, how strong your legs felt beneath you, how much easier it was to breathe when you weren't trying so hard to be something else. And in that quiet moment, you understood the last truth. You weren't waiting for someone to give you permission to feel good again. You were just waiting to give it to yourself. You are still a man, still living, still wired for vitality, for touch, for breath, for warmth. And every choice you make to care for your body, even something as small as a cherry before bed, is a message. I still matter. I'm still here. And I'm still worth the effort. If this story reminded you that change is still possible, that healing is still within reach, that connection doesn't have to end just because the calendar moved forward, please consider subscribing. Because here, we share what no one else will. And we remind you, you're not past your prime. You're just walking back into it. With your eyes open, your blood flowing, and your dignity fully intact. Fully.